Kia ora, I'm Nikki Weld. I come from Aotearoa, New Zealand, where I'm a National Social Work Advisor. I do a few other things like training and supervision as well. I'm here to talk a little bit about the Three Houses tool, which is a tool that I created with my colleague Maggie Greening when we were working in Child, Youth and Family, which is New Zealand's statutory child protection agency. And we created the tool back in 2003. The reason that we created this tool was in response partly to some feedback from our family court and our youth court judges who weren't too happy with the quality of the plans and the assessments that were coming through to them. They felt that the voice of the children and young people and even the parents was quite absent from those plans. The other factor that was going on at this time was that we were testing strengths-based practice and what that might look like in a statutory child protection setting. So we had those two things going on at this time. So for me, thinking about various theory and principles and models that we were working with, I decided to create a tool that could hopefully bring forward the voice of children and young people and our parents more clearly into our work. So you can see on the screen there some various principles, models, thinking that I drew on in order to do this. And probably the most critical out of those is Te Whare Tapa, which is a model of Māori health created by Sir Mason Jury. And Te Whare Tapa refers to the notion of a house and the four aspects of a house. So the notion of family, of emotions, of spirituality and of physical health, that altogether how they keep people well. So the notion of the house was already evident in Te Whare Tapa, and I really like that metaphor because I think it's something that people can relate to. So drawing on that and drawing on the other theory that you can see there, including the signs of safety, I decided to go out into the corridor with some big pieces of paper and my not so strong drawing skills and came up with three houses. So I was really interested in thinking about how can we have people talk a little bit about their strengths, how can people talk about vulnerabilities or the things that perhaps, you know, inside and around them might inadvertently lead them into danger and harm, and also about their hopes and dreams. And I felt that if we explored all of those three things with people, we'd get a really good understanding about their worldview and about their thoughts and their priorities about what was happening, particularly in times of, you know, where there wasn't enough safety for their children. And for the children, I was thinking this is a really opportunity for them to share their view about what's going on in their world. So I drew a very rough sort of picture of all that, and I took it back into the office and I showed Maggie. And Maggie, with her magic computer skills, managed to turn it into something that looks like this. And that was the original model that we then took to a place called Tauranga. And Tauranga was our site where they were testing strengths-based practice. And the workers there decided they liked it and to give it a go. So the first time the tool was ever used was actually on a care and protection investigation with a mum. And the worker's name was Joss. And Joss took the tool out of her, and she said she was quite nervous and she had it on her lap and she was kind of looking down and referring to it. And she said she decided to start off by asking Mum about her strengths. And she said by the time it came to talking to the mum about her vulnerabilities, the mum was just talking away and it all flowed really well. So that was great news. It was then tried out with some young people and some children, including two brothers who had been in long-term foster care. And the worker decided to do it with each boy at a time. And interesting enough, both boys said in their three houses through drawing and words that they really didn't like being known as welfare kids or child, youth and family kids, and they really didn't like that, and they really wanted to be in the permanent care of their foster carers. So the social worker put their three houses and their feedback into her court report, and the judge took that into consideration, and those boys were actually able to come under the guardianship of their foster carers, which was fantastic. From there I took the model to Gateshead in England to a signs of safety gathering, and I had the opportunity to present it there. And around that time as well, we were also learning that the House of Vulnerabilities was kind of a big word and a little bit complex. And so we decided that it's kind of like the House of Worries, or the bad things, or the not so good stuff. So it was starting to simplify down a little bit. On its journey out into the world, and I need to acknowledge the wonderful international practitioners, including in your country, that have used the tool, it became this version that you can see on your screen here. Predominantly used to help us hear the voice of children and to learn about their world. I'm really clear this is not a forensic investigation type tool. It is a tool designed for social workers and social service workers so that they can have a conversation with children, with young people and with parents, with the idea of building understanding and learning about the person's world. So really important that we use it as a way of promoting engagement and rapport and conversation, and that we put the time that it needs in order to do it well, and apply all our good principles with talking of particularly children in order to do that. So that is a very short version about where the Three Houses tool came from. I want to wish you all the very best in your practice, and if you try out the tool, I hope that goes really well for you. So so take care in the work that you do, and all the very best.